how do you manage the technology? Because technology is a huge challenge right now for marketers. Lots of technology out there, different technology stacks, but integration from SDKs to making sure that the APIs and everything work. How do you manage that? Are there challenges in regard to making sure everything works together?
For us, integration is definitely the biggest challenge. There's so many different systems, and finding the right technology that works with all of your systems, both from just a straight tech perspective, but also how does that work with the operations and how does that work from the guest experience? Mm-hmm. So for us, finding those right partners that can work together has been a challenge that kind of just limits the pool of available vendors from the get-go. And then once you're getting into it, making sure everything is built and integrated correctly, it's definitely a slow process. We've had a couple delays even getting this rewards program out just to make sure everything was working as it should. Okay. Once that's built, we're gravy, but it's definitely a huge challenge and can be a barrier, I think, to implementing really deep technology programs like this.
So I think it's been really difficult to kind of value a guest appropriately right now. You have guests that don't want to come back right now, and you have the amount of different things that you're looking at for a guest right now has been definitely a challenge, but you're trying to make sure that that guest has as many choices and as many options as possible.
Well, I think the number one challenge continues to be unpredictability and to some level uncontrollability. Now, you can certainly control some things, and some things happen where it's your fault and whoop, I was the weak link in the chain and we messed up. And that certainly happens from time to time, but it's a small percentage of the issues that arise. So the internet can go down. So then boom, we lose sales, right? Our credit card processor can have servers go down. That's a problem. Fios can go out. That's a problem. There's just so many different things that along the chain that can happen that can create a problem on the store level for our franchisees who are simply trying to ring up a sale. It's just unpredictable and sometimes uncontrollable. So that I think is the biggest challenge. I mean, the other challenge is, we do have an in-house department, but we also have a partner that we work with that has helped us with a lot of our development. But the truth is, even with 30 developers in-house and a partner to help us with this, technology changes so rapidly these days that keeping up with it is just an ongoing effort. I like to say there's no finish line with technology. It's about continually trying to improve. A lot of that is the custom, through things that happen that go wrong, you fix them. Some of it, again, is just, there's nothing you can do about it right now. And you hope that other links in the chain approach things the same way you do, and when something happens, you try as hard as you can to fix it and make it right. And something else usually turns up, though, because it's technology, and that's just the way it is, it seems.
Yeah, I think the challenge for many brands is, how do you make all that data meaningful? And I know this has been talked about a lot across many different industries, but in the end, it's like, how can you apply that data and distill it in a way that's going to give you something you can work with and be more effective with the consumer. And that's really the trick, and it's complicated. But if you focus on the critical few things that you believe are needle movers with your consumers, we feel as though we have a great future ahead of us, and we have a very strong foundation to stand on. I would position it as, currently we have our foundation in place, we've got our first story in place, and we're just putting layers on top of it in terms of how we harness more and more of the available data, so we can move from the critical few to build in others that may apply to smaller and smaller sections of our consumer base. Right. So we know presenting a sports car image to males of a certain age gives us a bigger response. Later in the program's life, we'll be able to tell, does that consumer prefer to see a Corvette image or an SUV image, for example?
Look, for us, it's about a happy and engaged customer. Someone for us who's having a connection with the brand beyond any one medical pro or any one person, at the company. And for us, we're just, we're measuring lots of different KPIs around that, but ultimately it's about, happy and engaged client base. And for me, we're looking, since I came here 3 years ago, I mean, we're really measuring how much of our growth comes from our existing guests versus new, and how much more they engage with the brand. And while there's lots of other metrics underneath it, that's what we're really hyper focused on right now, is the relative growth that comes from both new and existing guests.
In the restaurant business, I've learned that we're in the food business, and more we talk about people and technology more than we talk about food in terms of running your business. Those are the two things that really ultimately are always on the list to figure out, to do better. Those are always at the top of the list when we have leadership meetings, things like that. How are we doing with people, and ultimately how are we doing with the technology? We still have a lot of guests who dine in, but in a year of COVID, as all restaurants saw, either restaurants had to close or go to limited seating. As dine-in sort of went one way and we had to move off of that, we definitely had to reinvent some of our technologies and get better with online ordering and delivery, and moving into third-party delivery, and how do those function within our guest-facing tech elements. So, again, we already had online ordering connected through to Olo in our app, and that was a lot of moving into the SessionM platform. Is we were starting to outgrow the loyalty platform that we were on, and ultimately we're having a lot of challenges with the platform being able to do the volume we were doing. So the new platform is really set up to do a better job with online ordering. But again, all those moments where a guest is in an app to order something, and when the app's not working or there's a glitch, you hear about it immediately, and it can shut down that business for a period of time for ordering. So it can create chaos. So all of those things firing and talking to each other, and in the fact that the technology is constantly changing.